Mhm.
Hello everybody, I am joined today by the amazing Judith Quin, who runs the company Your Whole Voice and is a vocal confidence specialist. Now, it sounds a very fancy terminology, but I know it's far, far greater than just three simple words. So welcome, Judith.
Thank you very much.
So tell everybody what it is that you actually do.
Well, what I really do is reconnect you to who you are, to what you believe in, to your higher purpose, so that when you need to speak, in whatever situation that may be, I'm a firm believer that all speaking is public speaking, you can speak as who you are and from what you believe, and connected to your whole self, which is why it's your whole voice, because it's about connecting to what you believe, your social voice and your physical expressive voice.
Because when I first met you, I know we were talking about this just a few minutes ago. When I first met you, I thought, right, okay, you're a public speaking coach. You would have to stand up on stage and obviously present, possibly without fear, because as everybody knows, public speaking tends to be one of those things that bring out the palpitations in people's hearts, hot sweats and all of those things. But actually, when I started speaking to you, and even now, every time I speak to you, I discover another facet of what it is that you do. And we've been speaking over the last couple of days on the Women of Contribution group about vulnerability and actually stepping into that authentic self. It's incredibly difficult for most people to take away those society kind of shackles that we tend to have. And I know we were talking and you said, if I was to describe myself, I would be described as blunt. And it kind of took me aback. But actually, when you mean blunt, you mean speaking your truth. For those that are struggling to kind of, connect to that authentic self and speak the truth, how do you work with them? What suggestions would you give to be able to actually start pulling that part of us out and exposing it to us, to other people?
Yes, so I am blessed in so much, blessed or cursed, whichever way people want to look at it. And we were talking about this earlier, is since I was very, very young, I have always spoken my truth. I was bullied a lot at school, partly because of that, I think, because I was different. But also, even during that, it didn't stop me. So it's... I have been identified by some people in the spiritual world as an indigo child, which speaking your truth is actually one of the indications of that. And so for me, it's I can't not. I mean, I can in social situations and to not rock the boat or to be polite. There are situations when I restrain myself from speaking my whole truth, because sometimes it's not appropriate, and that is important. But for other people, often it's that fear of, well, it's mostly the fear of being judged negatively, because people forget that we judge positively too. It's just when we hear the word judged, we hear negative judgment. And that is the fear for most people. That's what brings up the palpitations. That is why they don't want to go out there and speak. So the number one thing I would say is to help you speak your truth when you're feeling, even if it is in a social situation and someone said something that you feel is beyond the line that you're willing to accept, is remember what's important to you. And then ask yourself, how important is it?
Because a lot of the time I speak with people who know something's really important to them, and actually when they go against that, it brings up this feeling of being unaligned, and that can show itself in kind of anxiety, depression, illness, etc. And actually getting back to being in alignment and being authentic and being ourselves is incredibly difficult. Now, my understanding is that that's what you do. You help people find that inner voice and actually take that step past the fear to be able to share it, to empower others, empower themselves, and actually make a difference.
Yeah, and sometimes that is public speaking. And most people find me because they're looking for a public speaking coach, and what they get is their whole life blown up. But it is very much, it's about one of the first things to be suppressed, especially when we are younger, is your voice.
Yeah.
So one of the first things we learn is what to say and what not to say, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, which is good. It's good to know where boundaries are. And sometimes I suppress my voice. Sometimes I say, you know what, I'm not going to say that because I don't want to hurt someone, or I don't want to create a massive debate at an event that's meant to be fun. But when you are asked to share your voice, and that may be via a blog, it could be in a team meeting at work, it could be if you are employing other people, it might well be at an event that's networking, or an interview like this, or any situation. The fear that comes up is because we go, oh, but I'm not meant to share that.
Yeah.
Or we're trying to put on something that we expect of other people. So I was working with someone not so long ago who was speaking at a big event and was like, oh no, I have to be professional and serious. Whereas actually this person is fun. Like, no, they're great fun. I was like, so what's unprofessional about being you and having fun? Because do you want to work, and who do you want to work with? Because if you're going out there trying to be serious, you're not going to be true to who you are. So people will know that, because it's the energy when we speak, it's the energy that people pick up on as much as, possibly more than anything else. So if we're trying to be something we're not, fit into someone else's mold, that can be seen. So there's what's wrong with being fun. Fun doesn't mean not professional, depending where you take it to. And then that's just about learning how to adapt. You can still be serious, but have fun. So yeah, so that's the connecting to elements and knowing how to use them. But for me, the key thing is, what is your purpose? What's your higher purpose? What is important to you, so that you can serve and shine. I mean, you know, the Women of Contribution, it's about contributing. And so how can you share your contribution, really, if you really know what effect that has on others and how powerful that is, then what's more important? Whether you help people by sharing your message and shining and speaking your truth, or preserving yourself and not being judged by others.
It's that giving 100% of ourselves, though, and that in itself is quite a scary thing. But like you say, if your purpose is so clear, you shouldn't try and cover it up or hide it, or, you know, how can anything be wrong? I'm coming to this realization of, in actual fact, when you express yourself, and if you're expressing yourself from a truth perspective and really from the heart, how can it possibly be wrong? It might not resonate with everybody, but how can it be wrong? It can't.
It's not, and you don't have to give 100% of yourself.
No.
Like, I don't give 100% of me, because, you know, there are some things that aren't relevant. It depends on the situation as well in which you're expressing yourself. But if you're doing everything you do connected to that purpose, if everything you do has that behind it, if you have that as a really solid base, so that when you're uncertain, you can go, oh no, actually, this is why I'm doing it, because this is important. Then if you're speaking to a room of 99 people or 100 people and 99 of them sit there sneering, going, what a load of rubbish, but it changes one person's life, is it worth it to change that one person's life? And how much do you care about those 99 people if they are not in the right space to hear you?
But surely that's about finding your tribe, finding the community that actually, you know, empowers you to be who you need to be and actually connects that inner part of you. Because so often we see, especially on social media, you know, people have built groups of like thousands and thousands of people, and you start off setting up your own group and you might get 1 or 2 or 3 and you just, oh, well, I can't do anything on there, or I can't invite people in until I've got a big group. But actually, does it really matter if your message and your words actually help just one person?
I did a live a few months ago, and I just hopped on, I can't remember if it was my page or my group, to do a live because something had inspired me. And some woman who I'd never met before, so it was probably my page, didn't know who she was. She said, oh, thank you so much. I just needed to hear this today. And I don't always feel comfortable doing lives. I think they're a bit egotistical and self-serving.
I love your honesty. I'm there. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not so much in the egotistical, but they just bring me out in a cold sweat.
Yeah. For me, the reason I didn't like them, I was just like, oh, how, you know, blah, blah. But actually, the reason I do them is because of comments like that woman going, I just needed to hear that. So for me, it's about inspiration. Inspiration is a massive driver. I'm an actor, so we have to be driven by something because it's definitely not money. And it's, for me, it's about making that connection with people so that they can connect a little bit more to themselves, a little bit more to their audience. And an audience can be your child as much as it can be an audience of 1,000 people in a stadium. And if I have something to say in that moment, then actually I'm being egotistical and self-serving by not sharing it. If I have the opportunity to go on and say, I've just had this amazing inspiration, wanted to share it with you, I hope it helps.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, so what? If no one watches it, what have I lost? Nothing.
But funny enough, our words are gifts. I was explaining this to somebody the other day. Our words are gifts, and when we give them to people, we lay them at their feet, and they have a choice as to whether they pick them up and accept them as their own, or whether they discard them. Now, if they discard them, it comes back to us. You know, that should be where it ends. But for so many people, the gifts that are being laid at their feet are not particularly nice ones sometimes. And actually, we're just accepting them all. We're accepting them all as if, well, they've given it to me, so I must accept it. You know, I too was bullied. And I think I absorbed all of those words, and they held me back for so many years. But actually, they were gifts from other people, and they said far more about them than they did about me. And I could have discarded them, but I chose not to. And the thing that I like about you is it's not only bringing out that authentic voice, but it's also that connection. And I know you work quite a lot on the spiritual side of things as well. And we're not going to go too woo-woo, you know, because some people find it too woo-woo. But you talk about something called sonic meditation, and I'm really interested to find out and share with everybody else a little bit more about what that actually means and what impact it can have on people's lives.
Okay, so sonic meditation for me was revelationary. I have a mind that goes at 1,000 miles an hour. I always have 100 things that I want to be doing, need to be doing, want to be finishing. I'm not a great completer. Started 100 million projects.
Me too.
And my brain is always going, oh, what about this? What about that? So silent meditation for me was often very challenging. And I did some work with a guy called Stuart Pearce, who, if I'm honest, I went to a workshop with a friend of mine who's an opera singer and also now sound healer. because Stuart used to be Master of Voice at the Globe, and I love Shakespeare, and quite frankly, if you gave me any job in the world, I would do a season at the Globe. So I went for slightly interested in the sounding element, and for very self-serving reasons of, I wonder who you could connect me with. And discovered the power of sounding. So my big block in life, and a lot of what I got bullied about, was singing, my singing voice. And people would take the mickey out of me, they would make fun of me when I was singing, and I loved singing. And that is where I would then lose confidence and have no confidence in my voice. With sounding and sonic meditation, there's no right or wrong note. So I started freeing my voice more, even though I've never been backward in coming forward when it comes to speaking. As we were talking about earlier, you know, I think about 6 when I told a dinner lady off for calling me Judy. My name is not Judy, it's Judith. I've always been... Don't make that mistake. Definitely not. But so I've never been backward in coming forward with confidence in speaking. But with singing, I would hold myself back. And sonic meditation is amazing because it really helped me accept my full voice and really expanded my acceptance of who I am. And the power of sound, most people have seen, and if you haven't, YouTube it, you'll see an opera singer can shatter a crystal glass with their voice.
Yes.
And that's because sound is energy. Again, we come back to energy like I was talking about before. And it is physical. It has a physical effect on your body. It has a physical effect on matter. So the cells in your body, the muscle energy, the cell memory, hold on to the emotions that you feel. So when you're in situations, particularly like speaking, for example, a high stress situation, your body will go back, muscle memory will go back there, and all the emotion memory will come back too. When we play with sound, when you match the vibration of that energy, like the crystal glass, it'll want to absorb it, but there's only so much it can absorb because it's in a form, so it has to let something go to absorb more. So when it lets go of that old emotion, this is where I then started using sounding and sonic meditation for vocal confidence, and also in my reconnection work, helping people find themselves again. It then releases those emotions, it releases that stuff that you've been holding onto that relate to sound or your voice internally. And once you've released it, you've then got space. So for lots of people, sonic meditation is a great way to meditate without having to clear your brain because you're doing something. So you are doing the sounding. So it's a great way to just have space and be relaxed and find time to and let go. But it's also an amazing way to start accepting your voice. So lots of people don't like hearing their voice. Some people think they've got a horrible squeaky voice, or their voice is too deep, or they're too quiet, or all sorts of things. So through sounding, where there's no right or wrong note, people make weird noises when you're sounding. Like there can be some really ugly noises made, but it's about exploring your voice and feeling in your body where your voice goes, so that your voice is a part of who you are. It's not separate. And this is, as you can tell, something I'm kind of passionate about. Your voice is it's more than this. This is not your voice. Your voice lives in your whole body. It lives in your thoughts. It lives in what you believe in. So sounding and sonic meditation is a great way to meditate, to release, to raise your vibration. You do go into a different state, but you physically change your body and your energy vibration as well. So without going too woo, it's very practical and physical as much as it is spiritual and enlightening.
I've not heard you talk about it in that way, and I love the explanation on the cellular level, because that makes perfect sense to me. What I wasn't aware with regards to the sonic meditation is that this is something that the people you work with do. So in my mind, I had thought, right, well, okay, you would record something, and I know you have recorded something, but you would record it and I would listen to it, and hey, presto, job done. But it sounds to me like some of what it is you do is actually getting people to make the noises themselves, then resonating within their body to release those emotions. Is that right?
Yeah, that's where the power is. That's where, so there's two ways that it works. I can sound on you or for you. I do it over the internet. I've people in Australia who've been, at the end of their earplugs have been in, and I've been sounding down the internet to them, and they receive the healing and the release in that way. So that's one way that it works. It works physically. So on my intensive days that I do with people, the start of the day is I will sound on the body to feel where the energy blockages are and to really help people come into their body. Because if you're not in your body and connected to your physical self, then how can you connect to anything else? It's about accepting your physicality as much as anything. But then, yeah, it's very much about asking you to explore, because I can't give you my voice.
No.
You've got to find your whole voice.
Wow.
It's not my whole voice, it's your whole voice. So it's about playing with your voice so that you start accepting it within you and feeling it, and that's huge. That's where,
Oof.
yeah.
That is, I mean, as you're talking, I'm thinking of what that would feel like, because actually that word that you just said, it's not my whole voice, it's your whole voice. And actually our voices are playing out on a daily basis, whether it's verbally when we're talking to people, or whether that's that monkey chatter that's going on. And actually understanding that we have the power within us to know what are the right notes, to be able to express ourselves in that way, to release that emotion, that is so powerful.
Yeah. And you do it without thinking when it's important. When it's important, you will use much more of your voice. So if, for example, you were to see someone about to run across a road in front of a bus, your voice would shift into much more into your head voice, which is your inform, which is really important, and you need to know this now. You don't think about it. You would automatically, no, don't. You'd be there, and it cuts through everything. If a child falls over and scrapes their knee, you don't think about, oh, I must be soft and loving. You automatically use a different part of your voice. Oh, it's okay, come on. Don't cry, or let yourself cry. I know it hurts. You automatically do it without thinking when it's really important. But most of the time, most people have a voice that's trapped somewhere here. Because going here is vulnerable, opening up your heart, opening up in being in your body. This is vulnerable and exposing. Being up here in your head is where most people end up, because especially in the Western world, that's what's valued. The logical, masculine, right and wrong. This is what I know. This is how I worked it out. So lots of people then don't believe that they have any of that. So for them as well, it's not just trapped up here. For them, it just kind of becomes trapped here in like, well, this is what I have to use to speak. So that's when people don't open their mouths, or people who think they are monotone is often because the voice is trapped in one space.
And it's so interesting that you say about, being in your body. As everybody probably knows by now, we've just moved to Barcelona. We've been here 5 weeks. I don't speak Spanish, but actually, when I express myself in my body, when I'm trying to communicate to people that don't speak English, and I unashamedly at this moment in time, and it will change, don't speak Spanish. By going into my body and actually using more of my facial expression, feeling what it is that I need to get out, the communication is there. And actually, communication is far more than just the words we speak.
Yeah. It's about connection, it's about tone, it's about body language. Pointing goes a long way in foreign languages. And making it up.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's knowing what you really want to express, what matters to you. Again, we come back to what's important. And that's at the heart of it. You know, what's important to you, and what's more important to you, that you don't make a fool of yourself, or that you get your message across.
And there is a big fear when you're learning a new language that you don't want to make a fool of yourself. And actually, you know, the amount of times that I speak to taxi drivers and they haven't got a freaking clue what I'm saying, but actually, at least I'm trying. At least I'm putting it out there. At some point in time, we will find a way to communicate, but the fear of saying things wrong and using the wrong context and using actually has to change, because how am I going to learn how to speak in a new language unless I try? And if we go back to looking at children, when they're looking at speaking for the first time, they practice, you know, even if that practice looks like mum, 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 mum.
Yeah, it's why, and I hate to tell you this, mums of the world, mum is not your name, it's just the first sound we make.
You have crushed so many women.
It's why
their husbands.
It's where mum and dad came from. Mum, mum, mum. So the hum, mum, 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 mum. Oh, mum, yes, I'm mum. No, you're not. It's just the first sound. And da is when we first bring the tongue into play. Da, 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 da. So,
and can I ask, by that humming and the tongue going on the roof of the mouth, what does that particularly do to the physiology? Because if we think of the sound, I'm just wondering what's going on in the physiology with the humming, and also the mouth at the top, the tongue at the top of the mouth.
So it's basically, so this is your tongue, and it can sit on the base of your jaw. This is my jaw. This is your tongue.
Very impromptu.
Oh no. So for all open sounds, so for and a hum should be like your teeth shouldn't be touching, your tongue is flat. So that's just a really open should be able to travel through your body really easily, really, really deep and really, really high. When you start changing the tongue, so if you put the tip of the tongue up, da, 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 or la, 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 ta, 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 you'll find the ta actually goes back a bit. So it's la, 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 and da, 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 or la, 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 and then da, da, da is like that. T is a bit further back. And then you have the other vowels. So you have E actually isn't E. We shouldn't do this for E. B is just E. E. So if you put the middle of your tongue against the back of your teeth and go, if you go I. So that's the physiology of it. It's how the space, how the airflow travels or gets blocked around the space.
Wow. And when we do the
which is really open, or actually is om, so it's om, so it's a really open sound.
And if we think of the vibration of the cells of the emotion that are trapped in the cells, is there anything that happens with that om?
Interestingly, and this is from Stuart Pearce, apparently someone did an experiment with a didgeridoo,
Yes.
sounding om down a didgeridoo into sound, into sand, and the shape it created was the om symbol.
Wow.
Right? Because of the vibration of the sound. Where it does again affect you physiologically is how open you are here or here. So if you think of your head and your cheekbones, it's why when you get a cold and you get congestion here, your eyes goes like this. So if you think of your head and your cheekbones here and your sinuses and your chest and your whole rib cage as amplifiers, that's what makes physiological difference with where the sound is. So you can om high up in your head, or you can om deep in your chest. And that's where the vibration, so it's not so much the sound you make, but it's the tone. So the higher tones literally physically vibrate higher in your body. Are all up here in your head, in the back of your neck, and the deeper tones you'll physically feel vibration lower in your body.
And actually, I remember seeing, probably Facebook, a speaker with a cover on it, and then sound played throughout, and these beautiful patterns started to emerge.
Yeah.
And if I think of Dr. Emoto, I don't know if you remember Dr. Emoto.
I was just about to say Dr. Emoto's work.
Yeah, with his words of love and his words of hate. And for anybody that doesn't know, he took kind of 2 bottles of water, for example. We'll do it quite quickly, but 2 bottles of water. One was sent loving words, the other was sent hate words. And then they crystallized the droplets of water and looked at them under the microscope and saw beautiful crystallized, absolutely exquisite patterns on the love, and then these horrible blobs on the hate.
Yeah.
I just wonder, if you look at the sand and the pattern that it makes, that must be happening within your body.
Yeah, and it's the intention of words. So like you were saying about when you're bullied and you accepted the words, if you're accepting the intention of anger, jealousy, hate, whatever it is, bitterness, with bullying, it's generally because you're different to them. So if you're accepting that, then you're accepting that into your body, which is where love is always stronger than fear, because for me there's only 2 emotions. There's love and there's fear, and everything else comes out of them. So hate and anger and all of that all come out of fear. So spending that time to be gentle with yourself and to have gentle thoughts, because it's the intention. Your audience will hear. If you're afraid of anything, of what the audience will think of, or what the outcome might be, if those thoughts are the predominant thoughts, no matter what the words are, it's the thoughts that will be heard. But if the thoughts are loving, generous, passionate, purposeful, it's the intention behind the words, that's what's really heard. Again, it's the energy, and that's because it's that vibration will come out of your mouth, will transfer and be absorbed by the audience. Again, that could be an audience of 1, it could be an audience of 20 or 20,000.
And I must admit, in the summer, I spoke for the very first time. I've gone up and presented numerous times in my previous job, but I stood up and spoke in San Diego. And one of my biggest fears was forgetting my words. And before I went up, I had a word with myself and said that actually it didn't matter what came out of my mouth. What did matter was that was being brought down, and I was being used as a vessel to be able to say words that would resonate with people. And whether I set up my destiny, I don't know, but halfway through I forgot what it was that I wanted to say, and I just took a deep breath and just thought, what will be will be. And the words came out, and the response was really good. So I'm assuming whatever it was that I said came out as it was meant to come out. And I suppose that kind of goes back to the fact that we can't be wrong if we're speaking our truth.
No. And also, your audience don't have a script in front of them.
No.
They don't know what you're going to say. I mean, they do when they're coming to watch me in a Shakespeare play, and they're all sat there with their penguin copy of The Tempest going, oh, she missed a line there. No, actually, we're doing the Arden version.
Yes.
Well, actually, our director just cut that scene, so put your script away. But that only really happens to actors. Or opera singers, maybe, if someone's passionate about something and they, oh, that's the wrong line. And it's like, no, it got lost in translation. But for those of us who are speaking as who we are, and for your business or to your people who you love, or to find directions or ask a taxi driver to take you home, you know, they don't have a script. They're not going to tell you, like, then no one's going to know if you've gone wrong.
Yeah.
But like you said, the most important thing you can do is breathe, reconnect to that higher purpose, the intention, what's important, and let it go from there, you know, because things go wrong. If you've got a PowerPoint, I was speaking at an event with 200 odd people at it, I can't remember when, because this month has been so crazy, about a month ago. And my slides didn't show on the screen properly. I used coloured backgrounds, and so half of them weren't showing. And so I had to practice what I preach and just go, well, you know what? I know what I wanted to say. And yes, I'm time restricted, which puts an extra pressure on. But what's important is that I connect with these people and that I speak my truth and I say what I feel is important about public speaking, about finding your voice, about connecting to communicate. What I had on the slides really are helpful visual images for the people in the audience and the odd nudge reminder for me. But if I'm connected to who I am, if you're connected to your message like you were, then you can't say the wrong thing because it's your message.
Yes. Yes, and people don't necessarily know what that message is.
No. And sometimes it comes out differently, and sometimes you think, oh, I've never said that before. That was a bit weird. And sometimes you go, oh my God, I've never said that before. That was brilliant. What did I say?
You never remember, never, ever remember.
What matters is saying it and being connected and knowing that if it's important to you, there will be other people out there who it's important to too.
That's a massive takeaway, and something that we're learning every day is that, you know, and something that I put my hand up and say, I'm learning every day. I cannot be wrong as long as I'm speaking my truth. And, you know, finding what that truth is when you've spent so many years covering it up and doing what you think people want you to say or society dictates that you should do. As you say, you don't want to go around being bloody rude to everybody, but actually it is about finding that happy medium and being authentic. Now, obviously we've talked about the sonic meditation. I remember as a child always singing and always humming, and so obviously without even realizing it, I was probably clearing lots of things. I know you have been incredibly generous, and I want to say thank you because you are gifting us your sonic meditation for people to listen to. But if people wanted to do it themselves, where's the best way to start? How will they know whether they're getting the right note to give them the relief they need?
You just fell into the trap. There are no right notes.
That's what I thought. That's what I'm covering now. That's what I thought. But yeah,
it's letting go. It's letting go of that. So just play with your voice. A sonic meditation can be as quick as 30 seconds of just going, breathing, taking time, and and breathing again. There you go. There's a sonic meditation.
That's given me goosebumps. I don't know about anything else.
That's start like that.
Wow. Wow. It sounds so much better. I mean, bless me, I've got the voice of an angel I do not have. But then I suppose if you're doing it by yourself, what does it matter?
And if it goes, it doesn't matter where your sound is. There was a guy who used to come to my sonic meditation class who's hard of hearing, and he'd make really ugly sounds. That's okay, they're his sounds.
Yeah. And it's owning those sounds like owning our voice.
Yeah. And it's sonic meditation. There's right and wrong notes in opera. There's right and wrong notes in pop music and in musical theatre. There are right and wrong notes. But if you're just sounding to connect to your voice, how can there be a right and wrong note?
No.
There's prettier notes, and there's more dissonant notes, and there's harmonious and clashing, but it's all exploration of sound, and it's all an exploration of your voice.
And how often would you recommend somebody do this? If this is a route that they want to go down, is there a right or wrong amount of time? Is it, as and when you feel like it?
Yeah, as and when you feel. I don't do structure very well. So for me, I did sound. I followed Stuart's meditation, and the meditation I'm gifting you. I talk you through it. It's half an hour. So, well, it's a 5-minute introduction, and you only have to listen to that once. And then I think it's a 25-minute sounding, which I guide you through. So it's a breath-body connection first, and then I guide through some specific sounds, and then a bit of open sounding. So what I did when I started learning was I would listen to Stuart's CD every day. And I would make that time, and I would do it every day until I got used to the sounding. Because the joy of sonic meditation for me was that I now know the feeling of being able to sit comfortably in silence.
Yeah.
Because it's the silence at the end of the sound that gives you the stillness and that sense of relief and release that gives you that tranquility and the higher vibration to then go, okay, reconnect, restart, refocus. So I'd say, yeah, if you want to try it every day, so I'm offering anyone who wants to have my free download, and just drop me your email and I can WeTransfer it over to you. If you want to get into the habit of it, listen to it every morning or every evening, whatever works for you, at lunchtime. But I use it just to if I'm getting really stressed, if I'm normally shouting at the computer is my stress time, why isn't it working? I don't understand it. I will sometimes just go and and release that anger through vibration sound. I'm a rock chick. I would listen to heavy metal, AC/DC, Metallica, and have a good old headbang, because that sound helped me release my frustrations, my teenage anger and frustrations. I would release it through sound, and I'm still releasing through sound, just in different ways.
I have to say, I was also, when I was being bullied, an AC/DC girl. So yes, there's a common thread there, definitely.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll listen to classical, sometimes I'll listen to Dolly Parton, sometimes I'll still put Metallica on. Sound is used we can never escape sound. So take the moment to, if you want to explore it more, depending how comfortable you are with your voice, take 10 seconds to play with your sound. Take 10 minutes, take half an hour, whatever works for you.
No, there is no right or wrong. And I know you're also being incredibly kind to the Women of Contribution, and is offering a kind of complimentary call for those that are potentially looking at working with you further and finding their voice and actually finding their authentic self. So thank you so much. I know many people in the group, this is something that definitely needs to be looked at. So much. And send them the door.
Knock at my mum's door.
So, I mean, on that note, I think it's probably time to go, but I just want to say a massive thank you for being authentically you and sharing so wonderfully with the group. And yes, thank you very much, Judith.
Oh, thank you for asking me. And say, even if you're not interested in working with me, but you've got a voice challenge or something you hate talking, I'm happy to do a 15-minute voice assessment call with people. So I can, it doesn't take me long to be able to say, oh yeah, okay, well, the reason that is because of X, Y, or Z. So for lots of people, it's, I find I'm really quiet, and often it's because, well, when they speak with their mouth quite tightly together. So if you want that, then I'm happy to offer that too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Yay, take care, and thank you. Thank you for this group.
That's no problem. I mean, it's a real pleasure, but it's the people that make the group. So, at the end of the day, I'm just one person.
We're all just one people. Yay.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.